on the world's largest super cruise ship. How enjoyable is it to be a crew member? Even more luxurious than a 7-star hotel in Dubai. The ship is 458.45 meters long, with a dead weight of up to 560,000 tons. Oil is a valuable energy source no matter where it is, and transporting it has become an extremely important task. This cruise ship is the largest tonnage super cruise ship ever built by humankind, holding the record for the highest deadweight tonnage. This Guinness World Record has yet to be broken. The Seawise Giant is a super cruise ship, launched in 1979, built by Japan's Sumitomo Heavy Industries. As part of global oil transportation, the ship's design is extremely large, with a length of 458.45 meters and a width of 68 meters, with a net tonnage exceeding 200,000 tons. Its cargo capacity reaches approximately 26 million barrels of crude oil. It is the largest cruise ship in the world. Without exception, the Seawise Giant was originally built to meet global oil transportation demands. Its main task was to transport crude oil from the Middle East to ports around the world, providing essential supply to the global oil market. During its operational period, it underwent multiple ownership transfers and modifications, yet it always maintained its original transportation function. Initially, the owner of the Seawise Giant was a Greek tycoon who commissioned Japan's Sumitomo Heavy Industries to build a cruise ship for him, but 3 years later, the owner went bankrupt due to poor management and had no choice but to transfer the unfinished Nevis cruise ship to Hong Kong shipping tycoon Tung Hao-Yun had one passion when it came to ships. He loved big ships. For him, the bigger the ship, the better. The initial design of the Seawise Giant had a displacement of 480,000 tons, but under Tung Hao-Yun's request, the Seawise Giant was lengthened, bringing its full load displacement to unprecedented, a later displacement of 820,000 tons. Keep in mind, China's Liaoning aircraft carrier has a displacement of only about 60,000 tons. This giant of the sea has a displacement equivalent to 12 Liaoning ships. However, good times didn't last. In the Iran-Iraq War of 1988, the Seawise Giant was struck by an Iranian Exocet missile and sank off the coast of Karg Island, Iran, in the offshore waters. After the Iran-Iraq War ended, the Seawise Giant was sold for $35 million to Norway's Norman International Shipping Company. Norman salvaged it and sent it to Keppel Shipyard in Singapore. The operational cost of this ship was extremely high, but the profits it generated were also very substantial. Supertankers are generally divided into two types. One type is a crude oil tanker that transports extracted oil to refineries for processing. The other type is a product tanker that ships refined petroleum products worldwide. Regardless of the type of tanker, safety is the primary concern. Because if oil leaks, it can cause severe environmental damage. Given its enormous size and weight, its engine system was far from simple. What powered the Seawise Giant in the water was a series of massive diesel engines. Each engine could generate thousands of horsepower. These engines were connected to an advanced propeller system, designed to maximize thrust while minimizing fuel consumption. The result was a ship capable of traveling long distances with high efficiency, reducing both operational costs and environmental impact. However, as times changed and the shipping industry evolved, eventually, the Seawise Giant faced new challenges. With increasing environmental awareness and a shift in global energy structures, the volume of maritime oil transport gradually declined, and the demand for supertankers also decreased. Eventually, people no longer needed such massive vessels. Finally, in 2010, this legendary cruise ship was dismantled in along Gujarat, India. Its massive body was broken down into pieces of steel, ending its decades-long maritime career. However, its legendary story will never be forgotten. From now on, there may never again be a ship with a greater cargo capacity. Truly, a one-of-a-kind vessel. What is it like to live on a billion-dollar cruise ship? Eating gourmet food every day, with less work than a university student? This massive ship before us is the world's largest cruise ship. Even the Titanic looks tiny in comparison. This cruise ship is called the Seawise Giant. It is 458.45 meters long and 68 meters wide, with a full load displacement of 820,000 tons. That is 8 times the displacement of a Ford-class aircraft carrier. Its cargo hold could carry 26 million barrels of crude oil. Just one trip's worth of oil would be worth $200 million. If someone could hijack this ship, they would never have to worry about money again. But of course, that's just a fantasy. A ship dealing with billions of dollars in trade would surely have onboard mercenaries. And even if you managed to steal the oil, there would be no way to sell it. Working on a super cruise ship is easy, much easier than other maritime industries. There is hardly any manual labor involved. Just steer the ship properly, and the rest of the time is yours to enjoy. You can do whatever you like, so the crew's entertainment life is rich. However, to prevent crew members from becoming out of shape, transforming from muscular men into couch potatoes, several gyms were built on board, stocked with various exercise equipment. Not an overwhelming amount, but just enough for basic needs. Since this is not a military vessel, it does not require many crew members, so there's no need for excessive equipment. And the fitness facilities are designed just to meet the crew's basic needs, allowing them to stay fit while on board. The living and entertainment areas are very spacious. The gym is also very large. Crew members can work out as much as they want. Not only are there many entertainment facilities here, but the food is also abundant. After all, going out to work once is a business worth hundreds of millions of dollars. They wouldn't be stingy to the point of bad food and clothes. And it's not like a warship. where once you set sail, you can't find the ship. Supplies here can be delivered at any time. If food runs out, just one call, and someone will deliver it specially. So on this ship, the food is always the freshest. Although you can't get lobsters in Abylonia here, there's plenty of fish and meat. After all, this is not a state unit. It can't meet the same standards as military meals. There's even a dedicated cinema on the ship. When bored, you can call friends to watch movies together. Anyway, there's plenty of time. Often, there's nothing to do for an entire day. Employees working here will also download novels and movies on their phones or computers in advance. After all, entertainment facilities on the ship are limited. Once they get bored, they can still read novels on their phones. When near the coast, they can even play games on their phones. But in the deep ocean, they can only watch downloaded novels and movies. If nothing else, they can even use the phone to crack walnuts. The rest area on a super cruise ship may follow dormitory standards, but it is much better than other maritime workers. After all, cruise ships and warships are different. Most of a warship space is used for storing weapons and missiles, while a cruise ship's cargo hold is inside the hull. The upper deck area is available for living freely. Each crew member's dormitory is quite spacious. Not only are all living facilities fully equipped, but every crew member is also provided with a private bathroom. Everyone has their own private space. Unlike on a warship, where a dozen people squeeze into one room, the Seawise Giant has been sailing the seas for years, but there is no need to worry about pirate hijacking. After all, oil is a commodity. Without an identity, people without proper connections cannot sell it. And for a deal worth billions of dollars, how could the ship not have security? So for pirates, risking their lives for a ship they can't profit from is simply not worth it. If you had the chance to work on this ship, would you quit your job to become a crew member? This is the largest oil tanker in the world. It has a displacement of 820,000 tons, equivalent to 12 Liaoning aircraft carriers. It can transport 2,600 barrels of crude oil. A single voyage can generate $200 million. This moving vessel is the largest cruise ship in the world. The Seawise Giant, this ship has had a legendary life. It is 458.45 meters long, as tall as a 119-story building, with a width of 68 meters and a full displacement of 820,000 tons. A single voyage transporting crude oil is worth $200 million, since only a few countries can store vast amounts of oil, and oil-demanding countries are scattered all over the world. Supertankers are needed to transport this oil worldwide. Thus, various types of super-large tankers were built. These tankers are no less impressive than aircraft carriers, but to this day, none have surpassed the Seawise Giant. Since oil is a highly dangerous fuel, this ship is manned by highly experienced crew members. Otherwise, a small mistake could lead to a massive explosion. With such a large cargo capacity, an explosion would be nearly equivalent to a nuclear blast, minus the radiation. Even highly experienced crew members must undergo extensive training before boarding. They must learn how to perform their tasks safely. Additionally, every crew member must be prepared for emergencies and respond appropriately to every alarm. To minimize risks as much as possible, the Seawise Giant put great effort into its design. The hull was designed to be flattered. It has only 12 internal oil tanks and uses a double hull structure. This greatly enhances the safety of the cargo, reducing the risk of crude oil leakage due to collisions or other reasons. If an accident occurs at sea, just a tiny spark can cause the oil to explode and burn instantly. No one would survive. Before each cargo loading or unloading, the ship communicates with the dock. Before loading and unloading, all oil tank hatches must be checked to ensure they are properly sealed, because oil is highly flammable and explosive. During loading and unloading, all electronic devices must be turned off. Even radios and radar cannot be switched on. If an accident happens, no one can escape. Loading oil onto the Seawise Giant takes about 10 hours. After all, this supertanker is massive. Before docking at a port is also the busiest time for the captain, because the captain must coordinate with the dock in advance. After all, such a huge ship cannot safely dock by itself. It requires tugboats for assistance. The dock must also prepare the necessary supplies. Every detail must be planned in advance, because docking is a complicated process. It cannot be redone just because something is missing. That would be too costly. Extra caution is required when loading oil, because if the transfer is too fast, static electricity can ignite the oil. Every time they dock, everyone is on full alert. No one dares to be careless. After all, this is not just about wages. It is a matter of life and death. In short, the Seawise Giant is a marvel of modern engineering, and a testament to human ambition and determination. Its enormous scale, advanced technology, and skilled crew made it a true giant of the world's oceans, boosting global crude oil trade while upholding the highest safety and environmental responsibility standards. Whether seen as a symbol of progress or a harbinger of environmental destruction, it is undeniable that the Seawise Giant had a profound impact on the world stage. Unfortunately, the Seawise Giant has been dismantled and scrapped, and the world may never see another supertanker of this scale again, as global demand for oil is no longer as urgent as before. Many alternative energy sources have emerged, eliminating the need for such massive tankers to transport oil. From now on, the Seawise Giant can only remain a legend in history.